You know, sometimes you have to take the moral victory over the physical victory, but not tonight. The Grand Falls Rapids take down the Summerside Western Capitals in a 7-4 victory, their fourth win of the season, and one that was an all-around team effort from start to finish. It was dramatic, it was penalty-filled, and there was so many good things that happened in this game. We are going to talk about it right here on the BelleFleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids post-game show. I'm Tyler Rains, and I'm going to be breaking down the dramatic start to finish from the Grand Falls Rapids and the Summerside Western Capitals. It starts off a game that everybody is, and when I was speaking to people in the arena before the game, they were nervous. They weren't sure how the Summerside team was going to play. And I think one of the things that really affected the game, maybe not, it could be a superstition thing, was that Summerside got there a little bit later than they usually would. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I think that is one of the things, if it were me as a player, it would suck getting there to the rink late. So you don't really have a whole lot of time to do anything by the time you went back. That's where it really all starts. So for the Grand Falls Rapids, puck drop starts, and it is an early penalty for the Summerside Western Capitals. Liam Wolf-Talby, who all game was just going under the Rapids' skin and talking all sorts of smack. That's one of the things, and I'll get more into that later. He takes a penalty for blow to the head. He gets a 2 and a 10. So the Rapids are then on the power play. Jano Zambaktion. I apologize. I know I butchered that name, and it's not easy to pronounce sometimes. Jano Zambaktion gets a tripping call. So the Rapids are now on a 5-on-3 power play. Nothing materializes of that 5-on-3, but not long after, and it wasn't early in the game, but it was still nonetheless early enough into the game where the Rapids would strike first, and it was Nick Brennan off of a laser howitzer to put the Rapids on the board. Patrick Baxter and Will Morrison picking up the assist for the first power play goal of the night. Now, this was a huge story in this game because going into the game tonight in the pregame, I talked about how special teams are going to play a major factor in the game, and that's exactly what happened tonight on the Rapids side. So Nick Brennan strikes first, getting his third of the season. Then they would again go on the power play. Dennis Lomanak takes a boarding call, and not even with 10 seconds left in the power play for the Grand Falls Rapids, Caleb McDonald strikes his 7th of the season. Jonah Laird and Raphael Denis getting the assists for the second power play goal of the game. It would be later into the first period where all chaos ensues, really. Grand Falls would take the first penalty in the dominoes. Ethan Kane would take a cross-checking penalty, and obviously this is one that you couldn't really avoid in that scenario when you were watching it. Then the Summerside Western Capitals take an unsportsmanlike penalty from head coach Billy McGuigan, was served by Brett Arsenault. He was not happy about the action that was going on the ice. All of the calls and all of the physicality was definitely not happy at all with what was going on. So they were assessed a bench minor penalty. Dominic Godin gets a 10-minute misconduct, and then Dennis Lomanak gets a goaltender interference penalty. Now, this is what kind of starts the chain reaction, was that goaltender interference penalty. So what happened was Lomanak crashed the net and crashed into Loic Nadeau, sending him to the ground. He gets up, and nobody is happy about it. Jack Brown ends up taking a 10-minute misconduct, but Tyrell Mulrooney, back in the lineup after missing a couple of games, he was scratched, makes an impact, and the return of Rocky Mulrooney is back. He gets into an absolute tear and just beats the snot out of Dennis Lomanak, earning himself a roughing penalty. But that was what, honestly, the big boost of energy at the end of the period that the Rapids needed. They end up going 4-on-4, but that's when Dawson Grandy, with 18 seconds left to go in the first period, gets the pass from Jonah Leard and buries it for his second of the season on the power play yet again. So a ton of penalties and a ton of power play opportunities here for the Grand Falls Rapids. They strike 3 times on the power play in the first period. The shots were 19-10 after the first period, and it was 3-0 for the Rapids. Now let that sink in for a second. The last time they did that was this season when they got their first win of the year, when they struck first. Now, this was an important one because we were mentioning how the momentum will swing in your favor if you score that first goal and you thwart off Summerside. They were able to do that fantastically. And I think, personally, Loic Nadeau, for a good majority of that game, was very, very good. He stood on his head. Had it not been for a couple of goals, I think he honestly would have been one of the 3 stars of the game tonight, but we'll talk about that as well. There was so much to talk about, so much to get excited for, and I'm having a little bit of trouble containing myself, not gonna lie. Second period begins, and Dennis Lomanak gets the first goal of the game for the Summerside Western Capitals. Obviously, one that you want back. The shutout goes away for Loic Nadeau, but there's still an opportunity to expand on the lead that you have and thwart off Summerside. So not even 30 seconds later, Brennan Murphy gets his 5th of the season. Dennis Lomanak once again getting that a primary assist on Brendan Murphy's goal, and suddenly we have a brand new game. Now Summerside is now down. They've cut their lead from 3-0 to 3-2, and this is where the fans are starting to panic. This is where it's just like, oh no, people are starting to think it's over. But this is the beginning of one of the most epic second into third periods that we've seen in a long time from this Grand Falls Rapids squad. Michael McLean gets the unassisted goal to tie this game up at 3. And at that point, you heard radio silence. It was just dead quiet in the arena. There was absolutely nothing. No cheers, no boos, nothing. It was dead silent. Radio silence. Then, when all hope appeared to be lost, Cole McWilliam gets his 3rd goal of the season from Dawson Grandy on a great pass, and the celebration was even more epic. I'm going to show you the goal and how excited these guys were getting through the course of the game.
As well on the south side, 1 assist in 2 games played. For the Rapids, Raphael Denis in 2 games played earned Player of the Week honors. There's a shot on, puck at the side of the net. Rapids delayed a penalty. Cole McWilliam makes it 4-3. You shall not pass. Cole McWilliam on the delayed.
So Cole McWilliam gets the Rapids the 4-3 lead, but it didn't stop there. The Rapids end up taking another penalty in the second period, and this one was, we talked about those late penalties. Ethan Kane got a boarding call, and so they were shorthanded. Now, what do the Rapids do when they're shorthanded? You would usually think, they're going to get scored on, or they're going to kill off the penalty. But this is where the kicker is. Patrick Baxter gets an amazing pass. This goal all starts off in the Rapids, and Raphael Denis sends a beautiful, crisp pass up to Brody Perret at the center ice area. He breaks in. It's a 2-on-1. Perret to Baxter. Tic-tac-toe. Back of the net. Short-handed goal. That is what you want to see out of this team. And we've seen time and time again that they are able to convert on those chances, and those special teams can be effective. Yes, they were on the penalty kill, and yes, there were a couple of opportunities that they gave up, but they ended up making Summerside pay the price. Instead of being on the man advantage, they turned it into their own man advantage. down at 5-on-4. So it would be 5-3 at the end of the second period. And this is where the game really started to take a turn. Now, Brett Arsenault, 38 seconds into the third period, would score for the Summerside Western Capitals, his 13th of the year. And it was a really nice goal as well. I can't lie when I say that. But this was one where it made it 5-4. It was very, very uncomfortable for a lot of Rapids fans at that point. And you can see that people are starting to bite their nails. They're really starting to get nervous. Could this game potentially go to overtime? What is the possibility of the Grand Falls Rapids ending up going to a third straight game with overtime? And that didn't happen. Caleb McDonald puts the fans' anxieties to rest with his 8th goal of the season, 2nd goal of the game. It is now 6-4 for the Grand Falls Rapids. And I have to take a minute before we get any further into the breakdown. And I have to say, all of the Rapids fans tonight that made noise, that came out, that cheered on the boys, give yourselves a pat on the back, because there was so much noise being made tonight. There were the Go Rapids Go chants that were happening. After every goal, it was loud, proud. So many people wearing their jerseys. The youngins making their signs, obviously, when they came in. It was just so refreshing to see people getting excited, especially in such a stressful game, going into this game like it was. Great job for all of the fans tonight. The 5th line, and once again, did not disappoint. So congratulations to the Rapids and the fans on number 1, getting the win, and number 2, making a lot of noise. But it didn't end there. So there were a lot of penalties in that third period, and the majority of them were Summerside penalties. So Liam Bridger, 1 minute and 39 seconds into the third period, takes a hooking call. Then it wouldn't be another penalty until the 10-minute mark, when Liam Wolf-Talby takes a boarding call. And again, this is one of those ones where you have to capitalize on it. And unfortunately, they didn't. But see, when you have a 6-goal game, there's only so much that you can do without trying to embarrass them. And I think that's what they did here tonight. So the last minute and a half-ish, Michael McLean takes a cross-checking call. He's out of the game. Liam Wolf-Talby takes another penalty as well, a 10-minute misconduct and a game misconduct. So his night was over. Ty Hunter takes a roughing penalty, and Brody Perret with a 10-minute misconduct as well. Done and dusted. Their nights are over. Jonah Leard gets the empty net goal, and that is all she wrote on the Summerside Western Capitals and Grand Falls Rapids here tonight. Overall thoughts on the game. I think personally this is one of their best played games of the season. We talked a lot about how they had an opportunity to get that first goal, and they did. But there were so many things that went right for the Rapids in this scenario. Now, there were a lot of penalties, and between the two teams, there were quite a few. I'll tell you how many penalties total were taken in this game. There was a whopping 94 penalty minutes in this game, 62 penalty minutes for Summerside and 32 for the Grand Falls Rapids. It was a just madhouse. This was exactly what you would expect. We talked about how the stakes, especially in these games, are kind of high because it's a former division rival, and now they've moved off to the South Division. They don't play Summerside again until the new year, I believe. And this is a game that I'm sure a lot of people are going to want to rewatch because of how entertaining it was and how much of the crazy entertainment value, I should say, it was. So the Grand Falls Rapids, they extend their point streak to 3 games. They've now got 4 points in their last 3 games. They look to go into Fredericton, the team that they have now just passed in the standings. They are now 5th place in the East League North Division with 11 points. They just got a win tonight. Fredericton Red Wings, of course, falling to the Edmundston Blizzard. And now it all comes down to all eyes on the Campbellton Tigers and the Grand Falls Rapids. Campbellton getting the win tonight against the Pictou County Weeks Crushers. They will scoot up 2 points, so there's no ground gained over the Campbellton Tigers there. But this is an important game coming into Sunday as well. If you pick up a potential 4 points, you'll sit 2 points behind the Campbellton Tigers. And this is, again, such an important weekend because not only are you playing a division rival in the Fredericton Red Wings and somebody who you're trying to beat in the standings, but this is a weekend where now you've set the tone, right? Now you have, for what's another word? Now you've set the gold standard. Because if you can beat the Summerside Western Capitals, you can beat anybody at this point. And that includes Fredericton. That includes Campbellton. And there are so many incredible things that they can do throughout the next little while. So the Fredericton Red Wings going into Sunday's game are now 4-7. Or 3-8, sorry, in their last 10. The Grand Falls Rapids... The Grand Falls Rapids 4-2 in their last 10, which again has been very, very impressive. And this is a matchup where the last time these two teams faced off, it was not bloody, but it was very physical. It was a very high scoring affair, and it was something that Grand Falls is going to want to capitalize on, especially since there is so much ground that you can gain. Because like I mentioned again, if you win this game against Fredericton on Sunday afternoon, you gain 2 points. That's another 2 points that you get to catch up to the Campbellton Tigers. And from there, the Miramichi Timberwolves are only a point ahead of Campbellton. If they end up losing, you're within striking distance of not just Campbellton, but Miramichi as well. And then you would only sit 2 points behind or 3 points behind Miramichi for that third place division spot. Now, this is the part of the year where I mentioned it in the pregame. You want to get as many points as possible before the Christmas break because it's a 2-week break over Christmas. You never know what's going to happen. And by the time you get back on the ice after the break, there are not that many games left. You're going to have about 26 games left in the regular season at the halfway point there. So you want to try and get as many points as you can and solidify at least somewhat of a lead in the standings through Christmas and going into the new year. And another really important part of that is those division rival games, right? So the Grand Falls Rapids, they have a game against the Fredericton Red Wings on Sunday, but then they don't have another game after that until November 15th, where the Edmundston Blizzard are at home and the Rapids are on the road to take on the Blizzard before coming back home and facing off against the Miramichi Timberwolves. And again, a big rivalry weekend for them as well. They obviously want to get that extra 2 points that they lost against Edmundston. When they went to a shootout, they obviously lost that extra point, so they're looking to get that vengeance on them. And of course, with Miramichi, they also lost in the shootout as well, so they're looking to get those games back-to-back with a fury. And this time, hopefully, passing the Miramichi Timberwolves for third place in the division. And it's going to be an entertaining weekend. Rest of the weekend, I should say. Sunday afternoon is going to be an absolute madhouse. As we've seen with Fredericton in the last couple of years over this rivalry, it's developed into something so special. And as with every other team in the division, these are games that you want to watch, that you're going to want to go back and watch on Flow Sports, and really be the judge for yourself. Is this a one-off, or is this the start of something great? And personally, I think this is the start of something great. Now, before I sign off, I just want to make a quick little announcement. On the week of November 15th, there will not be a post-game and or pre-game that week. I will be on vacation, so I will not... I will be away, so I will not be there to do the pregame and the postgame. But the following week, I will be back, and there's going to be a lot of action. Hopefully, the Rapids can pick up another 4 points that weekend as well and increase their race in the standings. There's so much to be excited about with this Rapids team, and the fans proved that tonight. The Rapids proved that tonight, and each and every one of you should be extremely proud of your team and to rep those Rapids colors, green and black. Go Rapids, go. Huge win tonight. Prepare for Sunday. Let's do it. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the little bell notification for all future content, and don't forget to stay tuned for the pregame coming up on Sunday afternoon when the Fredericton Red Wings roll into town to play off against the Grand Falls Rapids. We'll see you then, and until then, this has been Tyler Rains on the BelleFleur Tire Shop Grand Falls Rapids post-game show. We will see you Sunday afternoon.